Hi, so this is my second vlog for level 4 art. This is the last college day. Obviously I'll be doing some independent work. I've got my evidence here, as I said. Last time I said that I did work yesterday, but not yesterday, sorry, Wednesday, but I had to get evidence. So this was my collage. I basically just picked out all the ones that grabbed my attention. I didn't think about a certain theme because I knew that if I did, I would take much longer to do it than I had. And I know that I overthink, so by doing this just quickly and just picking out images I liked, that was good. I then put a posterized filter on it because there were some varying themes of nature and food and animals, because I always picked out pictures with dogs. There's a dog there, there's a little one there. You can't see because they do come out small. And there are a few people here, but I was more interested in their colours. So this was a model wearing a dress, but I tore it up so just you could see the dress. This, I posterized it, which basically means it makes it into one colour or a few colours, and so it turned out to be like a maroon red colour, which is, I can see it now. Now I'm looking at the photos and comparing, I can see it, but when I first put this together, I didn't really have an idea of any colour schemes. We had to add images, which was embarrassing for me, I must say, because not everyone was up for it. So you basically had to take images from other people's collages and put it on your own. And I felt like I was stealing off people. I felt so guilty. But then I was like, no, you have to do it. You're pushing yourself, remember. But not many of my classmates actually ended up doing it. So I think it was me and probably 4 other people at most that did this. And so that made it even worse, especially because I have low self-confidence and esteem. It was not the best activity, but I managed to grab some. I grabbed this because I was instantly drawn to it because I love teddy bears. Well, you can see. So I loved it, and I loved the softness. I was drawn to this because I was really interested as into why a tiger and a white lioness were together, because that's a lioness, that's not a lion, he hasn't got the mane. This because of the textures and the wave patterns, it looks like some sort of natural. It says mighty, because I've only just noticed this now, mighty for young. It's got like a heart. This is really intriguing. I think what I'll do is I'll make this bigger and analyze it because I'm now really interested in it. And I like this because of nature, but I also love the blue tones in it, and I love blues and purples and really sort of warm, well, not warm, warm cold colours. So what I did was we had to do some 2D responses, but I was still trying to push myself, so I was like, let's use as many different materials as I can. So I did a line drawing, and I grabbed this piece of cardboard. It was like one step of cardboard. So this was like a flat piece, and then you had this pop-up board which I found, and I just started mark making and doing continuous line drawings of my specific pictures, like the perfume bottle and the lady. And I did that originally in oil pastels first because I love the texture when you feel, because they're really rough and but soft at the same time. I use oil paints, which I haven't actually used before, even though I'm a traditional painter. I just kept on going over and over, but keeping the colours the same and keeping them warm. But on this side, sort of keeping them more different. But I did do some side drawings. I need to put a picture of the side there. And then when I was unpacking some new watercolours, I had this piece of plastic like wrapped around it, and like I said previously, I did about reusing and I didn't want to waste it, so I actually took double-sided tape and stuck it to a drawing I'd done of a lady with long hair, so that was her hair. And then I really wanted to make a flower because I just felt like, because there were so many nature-based elements, so I twisted that up as a rope, and then I pinned it down, and I folded this over and over, and I did add some paint to add some colour and to merge it in. I also found this really interesting shape of wood. That is what drew me. And I thought, I've done something quite contemporary, at least for me. So let's do something that's more my own, more graphical. So I drew stencils of leaves and I all across this wooden block. And that was very interesting because I remember it had so many different textures. It had like a really rough one at the bottom, but here it was smooth. And there were some nails that had been hammered in. And I drew over the nails, as you can see there. And I did ask people, what themes do you see in this? Because I really wanted to find out. Someone said, for the first one, faces, persons and butterflies, I circled butterflies because I was really interested to sort of see what could I do with butterflies. Plastic dress, that is obviously not what I intended it to be, but that was no problem. I wanted to see what other people thought. Warm colours. Jen, who is my tutor, political, actually, apologise. That's my friend who said that. Political, anti-capitalist, alienation, maximalism, which is something I'll look into because I don't know what that word means. Anyway, so she also talked about children's blocks and images and people's surreal landscape. So that's when I started cutting up magazines, which I've recently fallen in love with. And I've basically taken intimate objects and put human features on them to sort of give a surrealist. And then I put these two together, the eye with the countertop, because to me, just as I was saying, this looks like a mouth and there could be eyes here, but it wasn't quite the right size and it felt, I wanted to use this whole countertop. This is one of my favorites. It's just worked out really well. Now this page is a bit all over the place, so I was like, let's look at one of the pieces of analysis someone did for me, and one of them was transparency, glass, intense color. I felt like I had already covered intense color, so I decided to not look at that. And I felt like transparency and glass came together, but because I've done glass in a previous project, I didn't want to go back to it. I wanted to do something I've never done before. So what I did was I looked at, well, what's transparent, windows, drink, perfume, and then I thought water. I've studied a bit of water before, but I've only used it traditionally. So what I did was I made this piece where I basically cut up blues and greens from a magazine and I folded them up in like a wave formation. I did stick some flat down just to get some colour, and I put some browns in for like the murky water, and I used water and pen because this particular type of felt tip will what's the word, not leak. Yeah, it will leak when you add water, but it gives this lovely effect. And then my friend reminded me of this technique that we had done previously, where basically you move an image or you move yourself across the printer as it copies it. So I did that with this and it came out like this, and I found it really ironic because it actually turned out to look like a butterfly, very geometric, but I mainly focused on this. I may be coming back to something to do with butterflies, but it's not really my attention. So I was like, actually, let's look at what types of water there are, because obviously you got, to me, there's just one type of water. I don't really think of it. So you've got tap, mineral, spring, water, sparkling, which is really interesting to see how little the changes are and how they associate with being so different. So I then looked at the Google search, what words associated, because I felt, okay, this is interesting, but it doesn't interest me enough to do a whole project on it. There's not enough here to do my whole question on, like, oh, how can we interpret mineral water? It doesn't sound right. So I looked up aqua, ocean, sea, bottle, splash, and these are all the definitions. So I looked up ocean because this is the Great Barrier Reef and I love ocean and nature, and I also love the quirkiness of certain things. So I'm going to try and look into quirky animals. But on our lunch break, we actually came across this store where we found these ribbons for £4, and there were some beautiful textured blue ribbons and blues and greens. So I put it on the photocopier. I did put it through a filter to get the vibrancy out. My friend said this reminds her of the beach. And then I wanted to experiment with water because I wanted to see whether the pen layer could work on top of the prints. So I just drew very basic wave shapes, and then to me this didn't look complete, so I took a piece of paper and actually printed with this. And this is so far my favourite piece because it came out really well. You can see the waves, but then you can tell it's water. So that's what I've done so far. My plan for today, or my plan for my next thing, is I'm going to be using ice cubes, and I'm going to basically be melting them on water using watercolors, try and find some ponds and other bodies of water and just see what happens from there. So that's it for today. I'll probably post another video over the weekend.